2%. Washington, D.C. down more than 7%. Cleveland, Minneapolis, and New York all off more than 3%.
It is unfortunately widespread and pervasive, and there's no obvious place to hide out around the geographies.
In 5 cities, prices did go up, but just slightly in Atlanta and Dallas. Only Charlotte, Seattle, and Portland showed significant gains. And David Blitzer believes they could still be vulnerable.
I don't think any region is going to escape unscathed.
Not surprisingly, some of the biggest drop-offs came in cities that benefited most from the housing boom. Tampa, Miami, Phoenix, and Los Angeles, all riding double-digit price gains just a year ago, are now falling sharply. In this market, Jill Struck says buyers are hard to come by.
They are worried that if they buy a house for a certain amount today, that tomorrow it will decrease in value.
And they may be right, Katie, because according to some forecasts, housing prices won't hit bottom until they've fallen 10% from their highs.
Meanwhile, Anthony, the last housing slump, which started in the late 80s and went into the early 90s, took years to turn around. So what are people saying we can expect this time?
Most people seem to think, Katie, it's going to be well into next year before we hit bottom. And remember, in that last slump, that only affected certain parts of the country. Prices ultimately leveled off, but it was 4 years before they really began to rebound. Katie?
All right, Anthony Mason, thank you. From housing now to another struggling American industry, the auto industry, faced with a falling market share, rising labor costs, and now a strike against General Motors. Negotiators were back at the bargaining table today, but the men and women who build the cars were walking picket lines for a second day. Here's Dean Reynolds.
Brian Mosley has worked at GM for 31 years, along with his sister, brothers, and cousins.
Did you want to go out?
No, sir. Never want to go out. It's unless you have to. It's not productive. We all lose wages. GM loses output.
Indeed, while the strike may look like a test of wills, it is really a portrait of weakness on both sides. GM hasn't had a profit since 2004. It lost $12 billion over the last 2 years, and while it's making profits this year, they're coming from sales abroad, not here. For the UAW, it's lost 150,000 jobs at GM over the last 10 years amid repeated rounds of concessions. And now GM wants to shift responsibility for the benefits of 400,000 retirees to the union itself. In exchange, the UAW wants job security, a long-term commitment from the automaker to keep building cars in this country. But GM, with an eye on foreign competition, says it can no longer make those kinds of promises.
They want to be nimble. They want some of the efficiencies and some of the flexibility that the other manufacturers arguably have.
The sad fact for the auto workers is that this is probably not the last time they will be asked to give up something which they once thought they would keep for years to come. Back on the picket line, it's something that Brian Mosley reluctantly admits.
We're going to be under the gun for indefinite.
And how does that make you feel?
Scared and worried.
And on that point, he has a lot of company. Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Warren, Michigan.
At the United Nations today, Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said nothing is going to stop his country's nuclear program, not even threats of new economic sanctions. He spent most of his address railing against the Bush administration. Our chief White House correspondent Jim Axelrod is at the UN tonight. Jim, meanwhile, Iran was not exactly topic A during President Bush's address earlier, was it?
No, that's right, Katie. President Bush spoke this morning. He largely avoided Iran, but President Ahmadinejad spoke this afternoon, and he directly targeted the United States.
The protests against Iran's president moved to the UN today. Ahmadinejad himself sat and listened as President Bush addressed the UN, but barely mentioned Iran, and then only on his list of human rights violators.
In Belarus, North Korea, Syria, and Iran, brutal regimes deny their people the fundamental rights.
Instead of Iraq or terror, the president's theme was liberty, announcing new sanctions on the repressive military government of Burma. Leaders there have threatened barefoot Buddhist monks for leading a massive protest 100,000 strong.
Ethnic minorities are persecuted. Forced child labor, human trafficking, and rape are common.
The president wasn't finished, turning next to Cuba.
In Cuba, the long rule of a cruel dictator is nearing its end.
The Cuban delegation promptly walked out. This afternoon, Ahmadinejad had his chance and took dead aim at the U.S.
Unfortunately, human rights are being extensively violated by certain powers, especially by those who pretend to be their exclusive advocates, setting up secret prisons, abducting persons, trials and secret punishments without any regard to due process.
He spoke for 40 minutes, laying out his case why the United States is among the world's leading human rights violators.
The rights and dignity of the American people are also being sacrificed for the selfish desires of those holding power.
Now, we showed you some empty chairs there. When President Ahmadinejad spoke, there were no U.S. officials in the audience, just a note-taker. Katie.
Jim, meanwhile, some people are suggesting that all this attention and coverage of the Iranian president is making him seem much more powerful than he actually is in his own country.
Yeah, that's right. You know, President Ahmadinejad was not elected to deny the Holocaust or wipe Israel off the map. He was elected to improve the Iranian economy. He hasn't. It's deteriorating. And with the Iranian economy, so too is the popularity of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad deteriorating as well. Katie.
Jim Axelrod at the UN tonight. Thank you. In medical news, progress in the fight against breast cancer. A new study by the American Cancer Society finds the rate at which women are dying of breast cancer continues to decline by about 2% a year. As Dr. John LaPook reports, more than ever, there is life after breast cancer.
When newlywed Heidi Fenner learned she had breast cancer, the thought of becoming a mother was almost inconceivable.
Losing my hair was a very scary issue, but it was nothing in comparison to losing the ability to have a family.
About 40,000 women in their reproductive years are diagnosed each year with breast cancer. Doctors have traditionally discouraged them from getting pregnant because of concerns the extra hormones produced, like estrogen, might fuel the cancer. Not to mention, chemotherapy can damage the ovaries and make conception difficult.
And how have things changed now?
180 degrees.
Dr. Kutluk Aktay has spent the last 15 years figuring out how women with breast cancer can have children.
Today, we cannot imagine treating a young cancer patient without thinking of fertility preservation.
There's a precious window of opportunity between breast cancer surgery and starting chemotherapy. Heidi and her husband took advantage of this time to have her eggs harvested and fertilized using new techniques that don't rev up the hormones that could rekindle the cancer.
They can freeze their embryos, they can freeze their eggs, or they can freeze their ovarian tissue for future transplantation.
Heidi decided to freeze her embryos and try using a surrogate to carry her baby. Meet Ruby Kate Kessler.
The long-term safety of fertility treatment and pregnancy in women who have had breast cancer is still being studied. And the treatments are pricey, $10,000 to $15,000. And often not covered by insurance. But Heidi had faith she could beat breast cancer and become a mother.
I can't believe she's here. I can't believe what we went through, what she went through to get here.
Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
And there is more news about cancer up next. Would you believe they're making treatments for cancer out of dirt? How more and more medicines are coming from nature. And later, a half century after Little Rock, American schools sliding back towards segregation.
Something new for lunch?
Smoked chicken panini.
Really? Toasted Tuscan bread.
With the goodness of whole grain.
Let's make this for Healthy Choice.
I did.
Introducing delicious panini from Healthy Choice.
Blue sky smiling at me, nothing but blue skies.
Today, there's a fuel that, when paired with advanced diesel engines, will help reduce truck emissions by 90%. And that means bluer skies and cleaner air for all of us. Introducing new ultra-low sulfur diesel. From the people who bring you oil and natural gas. Learn more at energytomorrow.org.
My family really keeps me on the go. That's why it's important to have strong, healthy bones.
So I treat my osteoporosis with Boniva, just 1 pill a month to help prevent fractures. Studies show after 1 year on Boniva, 9 out of 10 women had better bone density. I know I did. And unlike weekly treatments like Fosamax, you only need Boniva once a month. With all I want to do, I'm glad Boniva is working for me.
You should not take Boniva if you have low blood calcium, severe kidney disease, or cannot sit or stand for at least 60 minutes. Follow dosing instructions carefully. Stop taking Boniva and tell your doctor if you experience difficult or painful swallowing, chest pain, or severe or continuing heartburn, as these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
Look, I've got this one body and this one life, so I'm doing my best to build strong, healthy bones. It's too important, so don't wait another week.
Ask your doctor for a free trial offer of once monthly Boniva now, or call 1-800-4-BONIVA. There's only one.
Because I spent so much time sick as a kid, I knew what it felt like, and because of it, you know, I always had a lot of respect for people that could help you. And my mom used to always go to the pharmacy and get my medicines, and it was the pharmacist that was most helpful. I guess it's really taught me to be very caring towards people. Maybe even care, you know, more than others sometimes think is wise. I want you to know that it's me talking to you, not your pharmacist. It's me, Lorene. I'm Lorene Kreitch, and I'm a CVS pharmacist.
Got too much on your plate to think about what should go on your plate? Drink Ensure, a source of complete balanced nutrition. So when you can't eat right, eat smart. Now Ensure has a new taste that's more delicious than ever.
The next time someone suggests you take time to smell the roses, here's something else to consider. There is an incredible amount of potential in the plants all around us. For instance, aspirin comes from the willow tree, and a common treatment for heart failure is derived from the foxglove plant. In fact, 1 out of 4 new drugs approved in recent years has come from nature, including sources you would never imagine. Michelle Miller concludes our series, Seeds of Life.
Matthew Murray and his family never imagined they'd find hope treating his bone cancer with a drug derived from dirt.
This is your latest full blood count, and it just couldn't be better, actually.
His doctor, Paul Richardson at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, is testing the remarkable anti-cancer properties found in soil bacteria. Combined with a more conventional drug, it's proving to boost the powers of both. So despite weakened bones and fatigue, this combo drug has freed him to do some heavy lifting. He's even training for a triathlon.
Every day, every week is an opportunity. You know, just hanging in there till the next drug comes.
Scientists are looking for that next drug on the land and in the sea. Already, 60% of all cancer drugs come from some source of plant, fungus, or living organism. And the potential for even more is astronomical.
Trillions of microbial species are out there.
Here at the National Cancer Institute's repository in Maryland, David Newman has spent a lifetime collecting and freezing some 80,000 organisms. He lends them to researchers across the globe in hopes they'll find a magic bullet.
They could hold a secret to a very large number of treatments for a very large number of diseases.
At the New York Botanical Garden, Dennis Stevenson believes plants hold the secret of potential cures.
So these plants that look like palms are called cycads.
The prehistoric cycad, for example, has lived for millions of years, despite the fact it injects a deadly toxin into its own system. It should kill it.
It should kill it.
But it doesn't.
But it doesn't. So it has a genetic repair mechanism against a toxin, or a genetic prevention, I should say.
Plants and people share about 70% of the same genes. So if we can figure out how plants protect themselves, we may be able to use that knowledge to cure ourselves.
State Police Field Services, Sergeant Murray.
And that's exactly what Matthew Murray is hoping for, that Mother Nature's blueprint will give him a second chance at life. Michelle Miller, CBS News, New York.
Another investment in the future is showing growth. Math and reading scores for America's students are up in a new national report card today from the Education Department. Among fourth graders, 39% are proficient in math. That's up 3 points since 2005. 33% are proficient in reading, up 2 points in the last 2 years. But there's lots of room for improvement. The goal of the No Child Left Behind legislation is 100% proficiency in math and reading. A report card on our schools in black and white is coming up next, 50 years after the Little Rock Nine broke the color barrier.
A student loan nightmare. Private companies raising interest rates without warning. A lesson in borrowing you can't afford to miss. Tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
I have COPD with chronic bronchitis, which makes it hard to breathe. But now that I'm breathing better with Advair, today I can have fun with my granddaughter.
For people with COPD with chronic bronchitis, great news. Advair helps significantly improve lung function. While nothing can reverse COPD, Advair's different from other medications because it's the only product with an anti-inflammatory and a long-acting bronchodilator working together to help you breathe better. Advair won't replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than twice a day. Lung infections, including pneumonia, have been reported with Advair. Taking Advair may increase your risk for osteoporosis and some eye problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking Advair, and ask about the risks and benefits of continuing Advair after 6 months.
I'm glad you came, Grandma.
Me too. Ask your doctor how Advair helps improve lung function for better breathing.
Find out how to get your first full prescription free at advaircopd.com.
Now the heartburn-stopping strength of Zantac also comes with a refreshing hint of cool mint. New maximum strength Zantac 150 Cool Mint tablets. Heartburn? Attack it. Zantac.
Here's to men who want more time at the game and less time in the men's room. And here's to Flomax. In 1 week, Flomax may relieve male urinary symptoms due to BPH, also called an enlarged prostate. Only your doctor can tell if you have BPH, not prostate cancer. Common side effects of Flomax are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen. Upon standing, a sudden drop in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting. So when starting Flomax, avoid situations where injury could result. If considering cataract surgery, tell your eye surgeon you've taken Flomax. Could you feel a difference in 1 week? Ask your doctor about Flomax. 1 Flomax a day could make a difference in 1 week.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around. Whose house is this? Mucus's house!
When mucus huddles in your chest, the congestion doesn't quit.
Whose house? Mucus's house!
That's why there's Mucinex. Mucinex is specially made to break up mucus that causes congestion.
Not now! It's a blowout!
And only Mucinex lasts for 12 hours.
Can we play at your house?
Mucinex in, mucus out.
More trouble for Michael Vick. A grand jury in Virginia indicted the Atlanta Falcons quarterback today on state felony charges related to dogfighting, each punishable by up to 5 years in prison. That would be on top of the 5 years Vick already faces after pleading guilty to federal charges. And more on crime and punishment. The Supreme Court agreed today to consider whether execution by lethal injection is cruel and unusual punishment. The injection includes an anesthetic and muscle paralyzer, and opponents of the death penalty say that if the condemned person is not given enough of the anesthetic, he can suffer extreme pain but be unable to cry out. A Supreme Court ruling back in 1954 declared separate schools for black and white children unconstitutional. And 50 years ago today, 9 black students were escorted into Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, by soldiers of the 101st Airborne. Also at the school that day were crowds of angry protesters. But as the Little Rock Nine returned to the school today to mark that milestone in civil rights, Hari Srinivasan reports many schools around the country are growing more segregated.
The doors being opened by President Bill Clinton and Governor Beebe.
A governor and a president willingly held open a door today for 9 former students, a door that was once ordered closed to them.
This street here was where the troops were.
Ernest Green was one of the Little Rock Nine.
Your name is Green, isn't it?
And the first African-American to graduate from Central.
Knowing what I know now, I would have done exactly what I did.
Green's alma mater is now ranked one of the best high schools in the country. Awards line its long hallways. Seniors today know the history here and feel the responsibility.
Everybody, looks at us because we are the model of progression.
because the Little Rock 9 integrated, we're supposed to be so far.
And they have moved far from the 60s. Central High's 2,400 students are nearly evenly split between black and white. But compared to the rest of the country, the integration inside this school is the exception, not the rule.
We show every state in the South going backwards, and we show every part of the country going backwards since the early 90s.
Dr. Gary Orfield studies resegregation and finds that American schools are backsliding at a disturbing pace, increasingly segregated by class, language, and race. According to a 2007 Civil Rights Project report, in 1968, 23% of black students in America were attending majority white schools. By 1988, that number had climbed to 37%, and by 2005, the number was falling, back down to 27%. Several Supreme Court decisions as recent as this past summer have limited desegregation efforts. That, Orfield says, is to every child's detriment.
Children tend to learn more in integrated schools. Children tend to be more likely to graduate from high school and to graduate from college.
It's such opportunities that the Little Rock 9 fought for 50 years ago. And today they called on the next generation to continue the fight.
Be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you.
Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Little Rock, Arkansas.
And coming up next, her work could change the lives of people who have lost limbs, but that's only part of what makes her special.
As a food lover, I get inspired by foods that just taste better, like these Eggland's Best eggs. They cook up perfectly and always taste fresh, flavorful, and delicious.
As a nutritionist, I'm impressed that Eggland's Best have 10 times more vitamin E and 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. In fact, EBs are the only eggs I give my husband, the chef.
Eggland's Best, a perfect marriage of taste
and nutrition.
Lower sodium soup, great taste, but how?
Sea salt. Campbell's added our one-of-a-kind lower sodium natural sea salt to help give our healthy request soups up to 50% less sodium with amazing taste.
I thought you said this was lower sodium.
It has always been really difficult for me to wake up in the morning. The clock goes off every morning at 6 a.m., and I hate that. I lived 4 blocks away from a high school, and I was never at first period on time. A part of my daily routine is that I get to sit down, even if it's 5 minutes, where I just get to sit by myself and have my coffee, because I know that that's not going to happen for the rest of the day.
Folgers Gourmet Selections. Get a sample at wakeupspecial.com.
Have you heard about Miralax? It's a different kind of laxative that's kind to your body.
Miralax relieves constipation with no bloating,
No cramping.
no gas,
No sudden urgency. And now,
no prescription.
no prescription.
Finally, there's Miralax. The #1 prescribed laxative is now available without a prescription. Restore your body's natural rhythm with Miralax.
Vitamins and minerals of Centrum Silver, I've got a big announcement. We've been reformulated.
When you say reformulated, are you talking...
Relax, we still help protect the health of people over 50. And now we're better balanced to work together.
No, you.
Like more C and E to support natural cell repair.
I love this antioxidant.
That's me. Working better together.
From A to zinc.
New age-adjusted Centrum Silver.
At 11, local parents angry about the latest Max proposal. See why it has them worried about kids' safety.
At 11.
We leave you tonight with one of the smartest people in America. In fact, she's been officially named a genius. John Blackstone explains why.
For years, Yoki Matsoko has been trying to get a grip on the human hand.
This is the robotic hand that I built for my master's degree.
Her goal is to give back to amputees hands as good as the ones they lost.
What we really ultimately want is something that moves just like our hands, so that we put this hand and a human hand next to each other and go like this, and nobody can tell which one is the robotic one.
Success may take decades, but her potential was recognized today when she was named one of this year's MacArthur Fellows, also known as the Genius Awards. She hasn't yet figured out what she'll do with the $500,000 prize. She has other things on her mind, like her 2-week-old son, Murdoch. Murdoch joins his 2-year-old twin sisters, Kailana and Talise, Yoki and husband Simon Baker, in an often noisy Seattle household.
I wanted to have a big family, and then I wanted to do great work, and then it seems like everything's coming together.
And it confirms Yoki's belief that America is a land of opportunity. At 15, she came here from Japan, planning to spend just 1 year learning English.
The first 3 months, I didn't speak a word. And I just watched TV. I watched Family Ties, Cosby shows, and that's how I learned English.
When it was time to go home, she told her parents she was staying. In school, a string of tennis injuries got her interested in how robots could help a failing human body.
I wanted to build a robot that could play tennis with me.
That led her to the studies that have now earned her the title Genius. But she's also pretty happy with the title Mother. John Blackstone, CBS News, Seattle.
And that is the CBS Evening News, with thanks to the Jones Day Law Firm for this window on the Capitol. I'm Katie Couric in Washington. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow from New York. Good night.
CBS News, winner of 5 Emmys, more than any other broadcast network for excellence in broadcast journalism. CBS News, experience you can trust.